Hey everyone, it's Adrian from the Pageant Project. My next guest is Kennedy Fewell, who is one of the newest crowned queens in the Miss Volunteer America family. She is your reigning Miss Virginia Volunteer America. She's sitting down with us to share the heart behind her crown, opening up about her goals for the year, the national partnerships she's passionate about, and why she chose to be part of this empowering organization. From how pageantry has shaped her life to the personal and professional experiences that brought her here, Kennedy is stepping into this role with purpose, drive, and a genuine love for service, which we'd like to see. As a dedicated businesswoman and advocate, she is ready to make an impact, and this is just the beginning. Kennedy, how are you? Welcome to the show.
I am fabulous. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. You look so excited. You look literally look like you're having trouble sitting still. Have you had a good day? You look like you're bounding with energy.
I am. It's been so good. I had a news interview too this morning on a platform that I've always wanted to be on. So like I'm still on cloud nine. I'm like, this is awesome. And then of course I had a little mini of Lonnie. So that's probably where the little, jigs come from for sure. The caffeine will get to you.
Yeah. How did the interview go? I saw it on your stories.
Yeah, no, it was so good. I just felt like I was able to have a heart to heart, really dive into my story. I'm back home for just a little bit to see some family, and I'm moving back to Virginia on Thursday. So I'm just trying to make the most of it while I can, for sure.
Okay. I said I was going to ask about this. Your accent. So I'm learning about all the different American accents. Now, I interviewed Haley, your predecessor. Your accent obviously is very different to hers. So do either of you have the typical Virginian accent?
No, we do not. I'm hoping that it rubs off on me for sure because I think their accents are beautiful. But of course, I'm originally a Southern Belle, so I feel like that Mississippi twang has just kind of stayed with me all of my life. I'm sure that's what you're hearing.
Right. Okay. I was going to say it sounded a bit like because I interviewed Miss Alabama Volunteer, and I loved her accent. And yours sounds similar to hers. So is that like roughly the region where you're from, where that accent comes from, anyway?
Yeah, we're sister states, so I'm right beside Alabama technically when I am in Mississippi. But yeah, I feel like you can tell it's Southern, but depending on where you're from, it's slightly different. So like Haley kind of has a Texas accent because that's where she was born and raised, and then hers is Alabama. So you can definitely hear that different region come to life for sure.
What was it like, or what is it like following in Haley's footsteps? She certainly set the bar high. How are you feeling about it?
I mean, it's an honor. It really is. I've looked up to her my entire life. Every inspiration, even from my podcast, Haley is just so incredible. And I told my judges in the interview room that, she built the foundation so I could build the first floor. I want to keep that legacy alive this next year. That's what I'm super passionate about. So, with her hearing Miss Virginia, I'm stepping into that, getting ready to shoot new podcasts as soon as I get back. And the Angel Train Express, we're already talking about that and planning it too, because she really has started so many incredible things for our program. And I want to keep that alive this next year. So that's top priority for me for sure.
Your TikTok handle, as I saw, was "Can Do It All." So, what is the all? You've already alluded to several things that you're doing, and then you've got here also businesswoman and advocate. So you're going to need to give us like the brief, the synopsis, and then we'll dive into it. But what are some of the different things that you've got going on?
Okay, so besides service this next year being Miss Virginia Volunteer, I'm partnering with Salvation Army and St. Jude, so I'm really excited about that. I'm getting a master's, so I'm technically a full-time student at Liberty University too, getting a master's in communication. And then I have a podcast of my own, and I'll have the legacy podcast that I'll continue to. So my personal is more to me, really based off of my serve initiative, so we can get more into that later. And then I have an online boutique too called Stop June Ivy, as well as trying to grow my platform to become an influencer if possible, and just really inspire others through service, through pageantry, through business, you name it. So I've got a lot of things going on, but all of it's led by the Heavenly Father. So I'm trusting in Him, trusting in His plans and His timing. And I know that all of it's going to bring Him glory, and that's what it's about.
When do you sleep?
Great question. Actually, I really do get a lot of sleep, like anywhere from 7 to 8 hours. I try to prioritize that. So as long as I get that sleep that I need, I feel like I'm ready to just go. And the ADHD helps me to accomplish a lot. So for that, I am thankful for sure.
That's so funny because when I saw you, when I was reading out your bio, as I said, you were literally fidgeting around in your chair. And I got diagnosed with ADHD last year, so I was relatively late diagnosed. But it was so funny for me because I don't know if you got like a questionnaire and they ask you like, did you ever have problems sitting still? And I was answering, going, no, what are you talking? I never had problems sitting still. And as I was filling out the questionnaire, I realized I had to walk around to do it. I couldn't sit still whilst I was doing it. So the ADHD thing. When did this sort of cross your radar? Was it recently or was it earlier on in your childhood?
Yeah, it was earlier on. So I actually failed kindergarten. That's a part of my big story. So I found out shortly after that experience. And not only did I have ADHD, but I had severe dyslexia. So we spent a lot of my life very early figuring out different ways to study, to, prioritize movement too, and making sure that I'm getting all those different areas into my life so I could succeed in whatever was next. So I have had a long journey of getting used to this and figuring out what works and what doesn't work. So that I am thankful for sure.
Well, I mean, that's fascinating to me because not only you got the ADHD, but there's dyslexia, and now you're studying your master's. What has the path been like for you? Your educational journey been like? Because very often in school and things like that, it's set up more for the traditional person who can read very well, can sit down in theory and concentrate. Whereas when you have ADHD and you have dyslexia, it's very, very different, and you have a lot of difficulties learning in the traditional way. So, what has your educational journey been like?
It's definitely not been easy, and if it wasn't for my mom, she actually was double certified in regular education and special needs. She was my advocate. I had to move schools in order to get the help that I needed because where we were at that time point, they didn't have the funds or the resources to give me that push that I needed. A lot of my educational career I credit to my first grade teacher. She was double board certified too, like my mom, and they were really good friends growing up. So she was the reason I was able to be in a real classroom and get the help that I needed while still being around others. So that really bumped me for success. And there were a lot of times there were people that doubted me and my whole life, from friends to family, even, teachers who told me, Kennedy College is not meant for you and that's okay. But I was excited to prove them wrong. So that's why I chased after scholarship opportunities. I went to Belhaven University so not only I could cheer, but get that education that I needed. And this past semester, I graduated as the one and only from the fashion merchandising department as of right now for my university because I took a leap of faith. And that's what it's about. So, that's kind of what brought me to Virginia to begin with, was the scholarship opportunities that I was getting from Liberty University. And of course, their mindset with Christ is exactly what I wanted to for my future. I want to get an education while prioritizing Him. So I chose to make that my home, and that opened doors for me to compete too. So I'm really, really thankful for that. That drive and that hustle that I've had to have from a very young age helped me pursue liberty, which ultimately led to me being Miss Virginia Volunteer. It's been a full circle moment, that's for sure.
How did you get into pageantry to begin with?
Yeah, so I needed to find my voice fast. By the time I was 12 or 13, my mom was like, okay, baby, you need something bad. We're going to find you whatever that is to help you start speaking, because I couldn't do it. My sentence structures were flipped backwards. I had such anxiety that I was the girl that ran from my birthday party. Like, it could just be my family over here. And I'd be like, I can't talk to anybody. I got to go. And I would just disappear and not even come back. So by that point, my mom was like, okay, we've got to do something. And she had dabbled in pageantry too, just a little bit. She doesn't want to admit it, but she did. So she was like, let's try it. And naturally, I just fell in love with it. It was exciting and it was nerve wracking, but the empowerment that you feel when you leave a weekend like that, the sisterhood, and for me, more important now than ever is the service. And that's why I have fallen in love with all things Virginia Volunteer and Volunteer America. But it truly pushes you to be the best version of yourself. And now I have this voice where I'm able to talk to you. I can talk on my podcast. I can talk and hold a good conversation at appearances and with businesses and sponsors. Like, that's what it's about. And those skills were learned in pageantry. So that I am forever grateful that those doors opened so I could find my voice.
We'll get into your serve initiative in a second, but I need to just backtrack. So you said your mum, it reminded me of someone else who said her mum entered her into pageantry because she needed to find a personality. You weren't needing to find a personality, you were needing to find your voice. That must have been challenging though, and a lot of girls would have resisted. I don't know if you did, but I mean, if you're not comfortable with speaking, pageantry can be a very scary place. So walk us through that journey. Like, what did it entail, you going into pageantry and trying to find your voice, have those sentence structures, being able to present yourself well? What was that like?
It was a journey. I mean, that first time I was a fish out of water, but I was not focused on winning the crown. I was focused on finding who I was. And I think that's where that attitude shift really came into play for me to find enjoyment and fulfillment in the journey instead of worrying about the wins, because it's not always about that. I mean, I can testimony to that. It's been 13 years of me vying for a title, all these no's, not yet's, and maybes, and in between. I was like, I know one day I'm going to be ready to serve, but until then, I'm going to work on me. And through this experience, I think what's helped me the most is I found the right people. I've always been told to, tell me who you surround yourself with, and I'll show you what your life is like in 5 years. And that's so true. And on business mindset, on a spiritual mindset, all of those things, you need people in your corner that help you to be the best version of yourself. So I'm going to shout out somebody right now. Her name is Danielle Phelps, and I am so thankful for her because she has fallen into my life the last, I'd say, 8 months. And that's where I really have seen the growth. Like 13-year journey, it was worth it all to meet incredible people like her and the Runk family, my directors, and Haley, who I've looked up to forever, and now we're sisters and a part of the legacy, and we text. I'm like, this is crazy. And how blessed am I that I have such incredible people? So that's what it's about. Find your people that believe in you, that push you, that encourage you, because they're going to help you to be the best version of yourself. And that is what it's all about.
What do you look for in your inner circle? I always say your circle doesn't need to be big. It can be tiny but mighty. But what are some of the non-negotiables? So if we're going to be in the inner circle of Kennedy Fewell, what do we need to pass? What character traits do we need to have?
I love a go-getter. I want somebody that, can help me accomplish these dreams that I have and be a part of the ride with me. So a lot of times I dream really big, but I'm ready to put the action behind it too. And that's really what it's all about too, right there. So I want somebody to go the distance with me, that they're ready to jump in that car and be like, you know what, this might be a little crazy, but if this is going to get us where we got to go, let's do it. That go-getter mindset, loyalty. But most importantly for me too, it is that spiritual walk. I want to surround myself with people that really do love the Lord. Like, I know you recently just did a podcast with Morgan too, and I started working out with her. This is my second workout today. Oh, shout out, go girl, go. Love her, but she's such a spiritual leader. I'm like, I want to be around people like that. They help me to be the best version of myself. So naturally, if they check all those lists, honey, let's be besties. I'm ready to call ourselves family right here, right now. That's for sure.
Oh, I mean, she's an amazing woman. I think she's at the moment holidaying somewhere. I just see rocks or something. She's somewhere because her husband is a nature photographer. He takes these amazing shoots. How important is it to you, that spiritual side of things? And I ask you this as someone who was rather late coming to the party, so to speak. Growing up, I was made to go to church, and I didn't have a say in it. And I think that's why I resented it. But as I've gotten older, especially during COVID, when there was a lot of troublesome things happening, and I came to it from, I'm looking for wisdom. And there's this book called The Good Book, and maybe it's been around for thousands of years for a reason. And I just felt like we're not always enough by ourselves. I need some guidance, I need some help, and I need some help making sense of things. How important is it to you, that spiritual side of things?
For me, it really is my driving factor. All the dreams that I have this next year as Virginia Volunteer too, I know that it's nothing that's happened on my own. It's what's been given to me as a blessing. So really and truly, everything that I do is fueled into that fire. I am the woman I am because of Jesus, because he died on that cross and saved me from my sins. So yeah, it's very important to me, and naturally I just associate myself with people like that because they have an energy, an aura. I feel like the people that have the most joy and could be experiencing all these different things in their life, and they still they love Jesus. Like, you just naturally draw yourself to him and you can't help it. So yeah, it is really important. And I do enjoy, being around people of that manner for sure.
Talk to us about your Serve initiative.
You got it. So my Serve initiative is called More Than a First Impression. And, I ask all of my kids to, when I first walk into the room and I'm presenting it, because right now I'm really in classrooms and I'm working on a partnership with the Girl Scouts of America too. So stay tuned on that. But I always ask them, like, what do you see when you look at me? And of course, there's a million different things. The shash kind of gives it away. They're like, girl, pageant queen. I'm like, yeah, it's okay. But I'm like, would you ever see me as that girl that failed kindergarten? Just like we talked about earlier, and it baffles them. And I'm like, that's the whole point of my Serve initiative. True beauty, it lies from within, and it's up to us to discover and uncover it together. So I want to break down these biases and those stereotypes, and I want these kids to really see people for who they are and not just the surface level. So we talk about self-love, resilience, and empathy, because I'm a firm believer if you have mastered those three key components in your life, you're going to be able to see beyond your first impression and others too. And that's when you really start growing and succeeding in every area of your life.
So are we going into schools, into schools to talk with the children? How old are these children that you're talking with?
I seem to really just have a vibe with kids that are anywhere from like first to sixth grade. Second to fifth is kind of that sweet spot for me. I just, they're our future and I want to invest in them. And that's why I'm really excited about the Girl Scouts of America because everything that they stand for, so do I. And, I didn't realize till recently that mom used to be a Girl Scouts when she was younger. So I was like, what are the odds? Like, maybe I really need to do this. One of our judges, Miss Nikki, she is over the Virginia Skyline district for the Girl Scouts too. So I have a great connection. I'm just really excited to grow my platform this next year. As of right now, 1,500 students have already heard the power of this message, and I want to amplify that. I want to continue this. This is something I'm passionate about. As that girl that failed kindergarten and was a fashionista from a young age and born and raised in a small town of 2,000 people, my whole life I was overlooked and underestimated and seen as the odd, weird girl that liked things that were different. So it's because of my story and my testimony that's really drived my Serve initiative, where I want to continue to inspire that younger generation because that's when I needed it the most.
What's it like when you get to interact with children who are so young? I mean, as you said, the children are our future. It might sound cliche, but it's very true. What's it like when you get to see the change or the realization that you're making speaking to such young kids?
It's life altering in the best way possible. I have an elementary school that's literally just down the road, and I love telling this story. I went to this little second grade class. I was family friends with the teacher, Miss Brittany Barentine, and I was like, "Could we connect? Can I come in?" She was like, "Yes, that would be awesome." So we networked and made that happen. And at the very beginning, when I was starting to talk about a little bit who I was, the girl already raised her hand in the back. She was blood face red, already had a tear rolling down her face. It was literally making me cry, so to speak. But she was like, "My mom and dad tell me I'm beautiful all the time, and I don't believe them." And I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe a little second grader feels this way about herself. But then I was like, I remember being in that seat thinking, man, I'm never going to be smart enough. I'm going to be lucky if I go past the next grade, like just underestimating myself and doubting who I was. So I shared with her my story, and I made sure I looked her in the face and I said, baby, you are beautiful. You have to realize you are the way you are for a reason. You have a purpose. So you've got to stand firm in that. And at the very end of it, we were getting ready to take a picture too. And all of a sudden, I feel this big bear hug. And I look down, and it's that little girl. And it's like, this is what it's about. Even if it's just that one life that I can change, I've done my job. So that's why I want to continue my Serve initiative and keep growing it this next year and pushing in boundaries that we've never seen before, rebranding it in ways that will allow me to be able to meet more kids. Because if I can change one little life like I did for that girl, my job's done.
That certainly sounds like it would bring a tear to most people's eye. Why do you think when there's someone who's so young and they have their parents telling them they are beautiful, why do you think it is that someone so young would believe they're not?
There's could be a lot of different reasons. Obviously social media is a factor. You see things around you. Kids look different from you. They talk at school. You choose to listen to it. Negativity is around you in every area of your life. There's no way you can get around it. But if you know who you are and you know what you're worth, you can remind yourself of that constantly. So you've got to have that strong attitude. The way that you feel about yourself dictates everything. So that's where I'm able to come in. I'm able to rephrase their minds, help them think outside the box, and realize their fullest potential. Because the enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy, baby. But if you're ready to be able to have that lie detector on and realize that that is false, that's not real, you know who you are, then you're able to stand firm and continue to keep growing in a positive manner.
Okay, tell me about this version of Kennedy who's in front of me now, very confident, at least outwardly, and very able to lean into other people and help other people. When did you come into this version of yourself? Because I got to believe, like, you're not just born like this. It takes a lot of work. So what has your personal journey been like into moving into this version of yourself who's in front of me now?
For me, it's all about those failures. When I look back and think of the moments that I felt like I was my weakest, that's when I grew the most. Because you have to be willing to step outside your comfort zone to be the best version of yourself, but you don't know how to do that if you haven't had those failures. So I'm thinking about the time when I didn't make cheer my seventh grade year. Oh, that was the first biggest failure for me. I thought it was the kindergarten, but I wanted to be a cheerleader so bad. And I was just devastated. I was a water girl that next year of my life, and I was watching the cheerleaders, and I just remember that was such a pivotal moment for me. But because I didn't make it that first year, I worked harder than I'd ever worked before in my life. And I feel like that's where that go-getter mentality has really come out to play and has helped me make me a big businesswoman that I am today and love doing all those things. I could tumble in a way I'd never tumbled before. I had collegiate tumbling and I couldn't even do a toe touch going into this from sixth to seventh grade. I was like, why did I even try out looking that? But it's moments like that in your life. When you look back and you realize those failures, it makes you work harder. It makes you start to realize who you are, what you're capable of, especially when you push past those. That is when I start to realize all of those little moments trickle together. And it makes me be the woman that's standing in front of you today. So you got to be thankful for it. You got to count it all as a blessing.
You couldn't do a toe touch.
Honey, I couldn't even bend down and touch my toes standing up if I wanted to. The hamstrings were tight in the sixth grade. I should have known I wasn't going to make it. It's fine. It's fine.
How, even I could do a toe touch. I can't tumble to save my life. But I mean, what was the work like? So if you're not naturally flexible, then I mean, there must have been a lot of work and work ethic and resilience that went into it.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, 2, 3 days a week, tumbling lessons and privates on top of that. I mean, I remember one summer my air conditioner was broke upstairs in the playroom and I didn't care. I stretched every day. I put weights on my ankles and did all these different exercises and it was crazy the work. Honestly, I don't think I've ever worked that hard. I don't know who she was, but she just mastered hard work in the seventh grade. I was like, okay, girl, go ahead. But yeah, like I said, it's just those moments. You got to keep going. Even when it looks like a failure, you can learn and grow from it. And it's going to pivot you to where exactly you need to be. You just got to trust the process.
Run me through your time at Miss Virginia Volunteer. So run me through what it was like. I really want to hear what your talent was. And then also, if you remember this, and if you don't, I'll remind you. But you have to tell us, what was it like to have that crown placed on your head after 13 years? Because that has to feel some kind of way.
Yeah, you'll have to watch my crowning video. I still look at it and I'm like, why was my mouth open that wide? Can I not close it? It was an out of body experience. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But really, when I look back at that week, it was just filled with a lot of love and so many good memories. I mean, I know Haley, I watched y'all's podcast together too, and she talked a little bit about the Rump family, and she was not kidding. They are the biggest blessing I have ever received in my life. The way they love others, the way they love the community, the way they pour into us. Not even just me as one of their title holders now, but everybody from volunteers to their staff and their faculty. And it's just beautiful. So that whole week was just awesome. It even started crazy. I'm going to tell you this too, real quick. That Monday, we went down there a little early because I was apartment searching too and just trying to figure out, where did I want to land? Because I knew I was moving. I was like, I am ready to be in Virginia and call myself a Virginia baddie. It is time. It is time. So that Monday, we woke up and our car had gotten towed because they were repaving the pavement. So we walked like 2 miles to try to find our car. We thought we were going to get hijacked. It was awful. And then my dog got sick. So we spent the rest of the afternoon in an emergency room with her. I mean, like, it was a crazy day. So that's how it started that Monday. But then after Tuesday, I was like, that's just the devil. He's trying to strike us out. Because as soon as Tuesday started with orientation, I was like, this is my happy place. This is what it's all about. The way we served together at the Salvation Army, the way we bond, the memories that we made, like, it was just awesome. It was so good. So I knew whether I, was going to walk away with this, that was planned for me or didn't. I was like, I'm coming back as long as I can because this is what pageantry really is supposed to be about. And then we get down to that top 2 right there. And I was like, it's her. That's wonderful. I was like, this was a great experience. Thank you, Jesus. So we're praying with each other. And then they say Emmeline, and I'm so thankful for her and all that she's done because she really is. She's incredible. She's awesome. And I still didn't believe they had said my name, but I just started screaming and crying, and my mouth's wide open. My nostrils are flaring. It was just a whole debacle. But man, was it so good. And then, like, ever since then, it's just been a fever dream because I still can't believe it's true. But man, I'm going to make the most of every single second given because this really is an opportunity of a lifetime.
Yeah, I haven't seen your crowning moment. Are you able to somewhat replicate what your facial expression when you had the? What are you talking about? Like, it sounds pretty traumatic. Mouth open, nostrils flared.
It was traumatic. Yeah, I was like, Like,
Oh,
just, the whole thing. I think it was a little more graceful than that. It was just too long. I was like, at some point, you're gonna swallow a fly. You need to show, you need to show your mouth. You need to show your mouth, Kennedy. It's fine though. It's fine.
your car was towed. Your dog was sick. You were apartment hunting. Your car was towed. Your dog was sick, and then the next day you go for orientation. This okay? So when I went over to America for Miss Volunteer America, I had a sequence of events like that happen to me. I was over there. I was going to see my friend compete at Miss Georgia USA. She had won. I was going to the after party, and then I drove the car because it's on the wrong side of the road coming from Australia into a curb, stripped the tire. It went completely flat. I've never done that before. Never had an accident. And then I get helped, and I'm trying to fix it. By the way, Kennedy, in my tux, and it's raining, right? And then I get helped by a homeless person who used to be a mechanic. She's telling me how excited she is. She and her fiance had found $1.49 over the weekend. She begins to help me. Then she flags down a police officer. The police officer helps me, does the whole thing for me, changes the tire, and then offers me a wet wipe at the end. And I'm going, okay, there's something different here. And I felt like there was some message that God was whacking me over the head, like, you get this yet? Like whenever he closes a door, there's a window opening kind of thing. But that must have been it went from traumatic to, I can't believe this beautiful event has happened to me in a very short period of time.
It was crazy. Honestly, by the time we got to the end of Monday, I was like, oh, I'm just going to need to get some sleep tonight because this is any indication of what the rest of the week is going to look like. I'm going to need a miracle. But no, it was awesome. It was so smooth sailing after Tuesday, and it just looking back at it, it was awesome. And we even got to line dance one time. Like, my favorite event was the judges' dinner that we did. It was so good. I've never line danced before, and I know I'm a Southern Belle. I'm like, I'm uncultured, I guess. Like, this is so cool. But we had Jill come in, and she was like a professional line dancer and pom and all this kind of other stuff, and she was good. And we were all able to line dance and cut up. Like, the memories that we made really will last a lifetime. It was awesome.
Give me a rundown as to how to line dance. I did some line dancing back in college at a party when maybe we'd had a bit too much to drink. But what's the one-on-one on line dancing? Like, all I know is 5, 6, 7, 8. Like, what arm movements? Is it the kicking, right? And then what else?
I know, yeah, there's a lot of that and a lot of like your boots scuff up and then you do a little pivot. I'm not a pro. I'm not a pro, not claiming to be. I'm a singer. So we're going to stay in our lane, but I did enjoy it. It was really fun.
Okay, that reminds me. So back us up. What talent? What talent did you perform at Miss Virginia Volunteer?
Yeah, so I did a vocal piece to share, and it was The Way of Love. So it's very old school, iconic, and classy. I had the black gown with the gold overskirt. I felt like it was just a total share moment. Really able to tap into that fashionista side too for the performance. So I enjoyed it.
And when you realize you were the winner, run us through the emotions. What emotions go through when you realize after 13 years you've got the crown? Is it excitement? Is it disbelief? Is it I can't wait to get going? Is it like, wake me, this must be a fever dream? What happens in your head?
Honestly, yeah, I was like, they've called the wrong girl out. They're going to pull a Steve Harvey. This is not real. So I just was holding on for a second. I was like, it's okay, still crying and was excited. But I was like, if it happens, it's okay. But no, before I knew it, they were still taking photos. I was taking photos of my sister queens and the judges and the wrong family and Haley, and my mentor Danielle called and was crying, and I was like, this is not real. And all of a sudden we have a huge crowning party afterwards. It's very iconic. You have an escort too that walks you down the stairs. It's this beautiful event. And my dad wasn't able to be with us. He was here at the house taking care of everything for us. And Mr. Brian Rump walked me down. And it's just a moment I'll remember forever. And that's when it actually settled in. I was like, I have a place to call home this next year.
Mm.
And it's not so much about the location, but it's about the people I get to be with, from Haley to the Rump family, like I've mentioned. Like, this is something that you pray for, that you ask and you beg for. And God brought me something that was even better than I could have ever imagined, something I don't deserve. So the very next day, I was like, okay, it's time to work. Like, the people that love me, that have pushed me and promoted me, it's time to do what God's called me to do. So, we are super excited with all the service that we're going to do this next year with the Salvation Army. I've got some really, really cool events dropping actually with next week of some St. Jude give backs that I'm doing. I'm working with a really cool company. So I'll kind of leave that open ended right there. But there's some really cool stuff that's coming out. And I think September is just going to be a month too where we really get to see the heart and soul of not only Volunteer America, but specifically the Virginia Volunteer America and everything that this program stands for. So it's going to be good. It's going to be a cool, sweet ride.
What are going to be your priorities over the coming years? So we've got, the next Miss Volunteer America happening June, July next year. What are your 1, 2, or 3 priorities going into that year? I mean, from knowing Haley so well and having spoken to her several times, the one thing that gets me about that girl is how hard she works, and she never stops. So I'm just curious, like for yourself, following in her footsteps, what are your top priorities leading into the nationals next year?
So for one, we talked about it earlier, is keep the legacy alive. All the things that she has accomplished, that she has blessed us with, I want to continue. But luckily for me, those are the things that I love.
Yeah.
Podcasting, my happy place is the Salvation Army. So it really fits hand in hand with who I am, and I just get to dive in and do the things that I love and keep her legacy alive. That's what it's about. Two is sisterhood. I want to not only attend state pageants and be there and promote my sister queens, but I want to serve alongside these girls. I want to do life with them. So I'm really excited. I'm already partnering with a few of them. We're texting, we're getting to know each other, and we're going to do service together, not only with our national partnerships, but with our serve initiatives too, because just like I told a little bit of my story with my serve initiative, everything that we've developed to be able to make a difference is personal. And I want to get to know these girls on a deep level like that and do
Yeah.
life with them. And then number 3, really and truly, is I just want to bring joy everywhere that I go, because I never know who I'm going to meet and who is going to need that smiling face and a sweet hug and told that life is going to be okay. I know this next year that I'm going to be blessed to be able to travel and do all the things that I love, but I want to bring that joy and radiate it through me everywhere that I go, because there will be somebody that needs it. And if I can help provide that space for them, hope for the future, love that they need, then I've done my job.
You been to Tennessee before?
I have. So I've been to the national competition twice. Really, it is out of this world. Everything that they do with the girls, the performance, the legacy, like Volunteer America is spectacular. It's funny you say Tennessee. I think you're going to be interviewing Megan for Two Before Too Much Longer, and I love that girl. She is so good. We go back to High School America like 10 years ago. So she is awesome. You guys are going to have the best time. So I love all things Tennessee. Woo!
I get jealous when I think I've seen 2 state title holders now. Maybe it's a state, no, it might have been Lauren. I don't know. But Megan got a car. She got a Ford or something. I'm like, because coming from Australia, I don't know how much you know, but if you win a pageant here, you definitely do not get a car. So I was looking at that going, wow, she got a car to drive around. So I'm excited to have a chat with her, obviously. But I want to go back to something you mentioned before, which was the Girl Scouts of America. Now, I don't know much about Girl Scouts other than the very cliche they go door to door trying to sell cookies, and I don't even know if that's true anymore. But can you tell me why you're so excited and intentional about setting up a partnership with the Girl Scouts of America?
Well, first, my mom's experience and how it's changed her life. She grew up in an alcoholic family, and just her story runs really deep. And she told me that one of the safest places during her childhood was Girl Scouts. And if you know me, my mom is my world, and everything for her is to me. Like we are just two peas in a pod. So hearing her story and then meeting Miss Nikki, one of the CEOs of Girl Scouts in Virginia, and just seeing her heart and her soul, it just kind of got me thinking, maybe this is a partnership I want. I had been looking for a nonprofit anyways to do with my serve initiative, and that was kind of my next expansion goal as the Miss Virginia volunteer. But I love the way that they're inspiring girls. I've always been a for the girls kind of girl anyways, so the fact that I'll be able to be with them and promote them, inspire them. They stand for the 3 C's: confidence, courage, and character. And those things are what little girls need now more than ever. So
Yeah.
yes, they still raise the cookies. It's kind of like the Salvation Army. Like a lot of people that don't know what the nonprofit really does, like it's so much more than just the holiday season, right? It's not just the angel tree or the ringing the bell. Like they have all these shelters and these programs and after school programs. They invest in their communities and tailor the specific needs to each location because
Hmm.
they want to help the people in their community. Well, the Girl Scouts of America is just like that too. so much more than just cookies. It's character building. It's establishing confidence. It's helping give entrepreneurship skills and creating STEM opportunities for these young girls. So now I get to help boost that too and bring in a whole new side. I talked a little bit too about rebranding, and I was kind of thinking about doing something called the RISE project. So it would be resilience, insight, self-love, and empathy. So still the same more than a first impression that we know, but rebranding it to where it is partnering hand in hand with the Girl Scouts, maybe creating a badge, selling cookies with the girls, raising funds, figuring out what that looks like. And this will be a new, fresh opportunity, but this organization is, doing so much good. It really is. And to be able to be a partner with it will be a dream come true. So I'm excited to see what happens these next couple of months. It's going to be cool.
How easy is it for girls to join the Girl Scouts? Is this something that's in every state, in every school, or is it sort of some states more than others?
Probably more some states than others. There's still a lot I've got to figure out, a lot of connection and, talking to the right people at the right place for sure. But everywhere that I've gone up to this point, they do have a location. I think some states have a heavier presence. It really just depends on,
Sure.
stems from the top who's investing to it. But from what I'm gathering, it's widely accepted and open. I'm sure there's certain things you've got to do, a certain number of fundraising things, because that's how they're able to provide for these girls. But yeah, I'm just really excited to dig in and get to know the core of this organization and see how it inspires me. It's just Kennedy Fewell.
And you've mentioned a couple of times your podcast. Can you tell us more about that? So you've got Haley, who started, was it Voices of Virginia? I can't quite remember, but you got her legacy podcast that she started, and then you've got your own. So tell us about your podcast.
Yeah, so my podcast is more to me, and it's tailored to each individual. So I really just want to hear the heart and soul of who they are and their testimony, their successes, their failures, wisdom that they could give. So it's really just diving deep into their life. And my goal with that is just to inspire that, we see them as an influencer. Yeah, but they've had hardships too. There was a journey that got them to where they were today. So maybe that's wisdom that we can gain from them, or realizing that we are all more than meets the eye. So it really does go hand in hand with my Serve initiative. It just takes things deeper. It makes things more relatable. It gives people the platform to be able to hear it from somebody else rather than me and get inspiration from the people that they look up from. So I've already been able to interview Brittany Codwell, who's the owner of Go Brazy, Dale Smith Thomas, who's an international motivational speaker. I've had Haley on there, working on Anna Lunday. So some really cool guests, and I'm just excited to see, the connections that this year is going to open up for me to continue to interview really cool people. I've got some people in the works, so fingers crossed it happens, because there's a lot of stories that need to be told and a lot of us who need that inspiration.
What was it like interviewing Haley? You've looked up to her for so many years. Was it a bit nerve-inducing or a bit anxiety-inducing?
Oh yeah, I was totally nervous. Of course, I prep with all my podcasts. I do like a topic sheet of all the questions, so that way they know, and also so I know what I'm asking and can stay on task. Because that ADHD, she likes to show up randomly. But it was just like a fever dream seeing her face pop up on the screen. Because of course we had to do virtual. I was like, that's Haley. And at this point, I didn't even know I was moving to Virginia. This was earlier in the year, so I still was trying to wrap up school too. And that's kind of where we knew each other through High School America and kind of kept up with each other. But our relationship really blossomed after that podcast. And then I got to see her at the teen pageant too. And we just had a 30-minute conversation, heart to heart. And I was like, now that is when I really was just like, God, you are so good. She's so cool. This was the best night of my life, So I really look up to her in every way possible. And I know I've got big shoes to fill this next year, but luckily for me, she's a part of the team now. She is a part of the board. So I have her on my side. We're doing this together. It's going to be a beautiful year.
It's funny you mentioned having that conversation one-on-one with Haley, because when I was over in America and I saw Haley, I'd never seen her before, obviously, but I talked to her a lot, and it was difficult to get a word in edgeways, because she was always surrounded by so many people who wanted to take her photos. I think it spoke a lot to what she's achieved and how hard she's worked and what she stands for, that so many people want a piece of her ear. And that's what she messaged me afterwards saying, I'm so upset, we didn't get to meet. It's well, you were surrounded by people all the time. So, I speak to that a little bit, because it must be part of your plan as well, is you want to, we speak about you following Haley, but obviously you're your own person too. I want to be respectful of that. But part of it must be wanting to leave a legacy bigger than yourself, leave the room a better place than when you entered it.
Absolutely, 110%. I know I've touched on this with the big shoes to fill too and everything, but the beauty of it is God has cultivated these dreams inside of me, and now I have the right people at the right place at the right time to make it all happen. So now it's just doing everything that He's taught me to do, applying that action, keeping that drive, staying focused, trusting the process, and the rest of it will just unveil when it's time. So it's going to be a beautiful year that I am so excited for.
Let me ask you a question about where you want this year to go. Let's talk about a year from now or 5 years from now. And I think this is interesting. Anytime you ask someone with ADHD what their long-term goals are, because sometimes it's a bit hard setting goals. Well, it's very easy to set goals. Achieving them and sticking to them is from my experience anyway. That's the hard part. I can set amazing goals, but achieving them it's a bit different. But what's the vision for yourself? Let's say a year from now or 5 years from now.
Okay. So I see myself back on the board if we're talking 5 year span. Of course, I want to be back. I want to be a part of the family, investing in the girls. Before my year's up, I actually am working on another business that I actually want to open in Lynchburg. So I'm really excited. I started investing in that as we speak yesterday. So 6 months time, I'm hopeful that I can have a location in Lynchburg and have a business and continue to grow that endeavor and see where it takes me. But I want to provide scholarship opportunities. Through my online boutique, June Ivy, I've already been able to give out $3,500 worth of that
Oh,
to random girls that I've just, not random, well, girls that I love, that I invest in, that I know are going to continue to do good, and they just need that extra support, whether it's monetary or merchandise. But yeah, I would love to see myself being a big investor, whether that's 5, 10K into the Virginia Volunteer, because I want girls after me to realize the opportunity that's there. I walked away with $20,000 worth of scholarship opportunities, an apartment, a car, all of these great things. And none of that would have been possible if it wasn't for Virginia Volunteer, if it wasn't for our investors, people that believe, and the legacy that keeps it alive. So I see myself heavily being a part of that. And the rest of it we'll just trust
mm.
the process. I know I'm going to be a business owner. I can't help myself. As many as I can open, I'm like, let's do it. That's just who I am. I like to do that. So the rest of it time will tell for sure. But I'm excited.
Talk to me about the entrepreneurial spirit because I love it. I've been a business owner my whole life. I managed to work for someone else for one time, and then after that, it's like I'm never doing this again. Where's your love for business stem from? Has it been that no one can keep up with the chaos that you bring, or is it just you can't work? You don't want to work with anyone else, or you're excited to work for yourself? It's a creativity. Like, what aspects really draw you to the entrepreneurial side of things?
Honestly, I love working with people. I am definitely a people person. I do not like to be by myself. The fellowship, bring it on, the more the merrier. But it's the creativity. And, a lot of it stimulates too from my environment. My parents have owned their own businesses too. So that's what I've known my whole life. So
Mm.
I didn't think that was something I necessarily wanted to do. Um, but it's just kind of your calling. You just know, you know. And maybe a lot of it stimulates from the rest of everything too. We'll see. I don't know, but it just brings me a lot of joy. I like to be able to pour into other people. I like to be able to be creative. I have such this visual, crafty mind where all that the fashion comes to life and the branding and all of that, and I can pour all that into my business, and it just
Mm.
fills my cup. And I wouldn't be able to do that if it wasn't mine. So I feel like all of the gifts and the talents that he's given me really come to life when I'm able to pour into that business that I love, whether it is the boutique or the podcast or the future one that's coming very soon. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. And honestly, that just keeps me in Virginia, and that makes me even more excited because I love Lynchburg. It is so awesome. The community, the people, Southern Virginia is where it's at, baby. So that is home. I am really excited to just plant a business there and continue to grow.
Part of my own goal is to interview every state title holder in the lead up to Miss Volunteer America, and part of me personally is just going, I wonder if I want to visit there. So you'd recommend Southern Virginia as is a good place to visit?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love Lynchburg because it's centrally located. Richmond's the capital. You can get to it in an hour and a half. Roanoke has a massive airport as well as so many other great opportunities. You get to that in an hour. Virginia Beach is 2 hours and 15 minutes. So yeah, you can literally experience it all. You can just get in your car and go. So I'm really excited to just plant my feet there, serve this next year, go to school in Liberty because that's where Liberty University is located too in Lynchburg. So they have so many good opportunities there that I am grateful for.
Talk to me just briefly. I mean, the business journey, the entrepreneurial side of things is amazing. Someone who comes at it from a background of ADHD and dyslexia, I think there are certain advantages and disadvantages. At least that's been my experience. It's like ADHD, I can't speak the dyslexia part, but the ADHD, yes, it's sometimes difficult to stay on task. But on the other hand, the creativity seems to over-index, and you have all these plans and you go, oh, I could try that, I could try that, I could try. Sometimes it's difficult to stay on task. But what have been some of the benefits and some of the maybe the struggles that you've had starting a business, a young entrepreneur, as someone who has the ADHD and the dyslexia?
So I feel like at the beginning when I started my boutique, for example, sometimes it was really hard to sit and focus. That's the normal, right?
Yeah.
But that's where I feel like you succeed as a business owner when you surround yourself with the right people. So I had a mentor of mine that really helped me do everything correctly because there's a lot of moving parts and pieces legally and upfront too, and
Mm.
figuring out a new software program because I'm with Shopify. So I needed somebody to show me the ropes. And when they did that, it was great. Now, what I love about the ADHD mindset for a business owner is you're able to handle so much at one time. I don't really get overstimulated. I'm like, bring it on, because I feel like I get more done if it's all together right there where I can see it. So that I feel like helps me keep that hustle and that drive. And then where I fall short, that's where I have the right people to come in. But
Yeah.
that's how you're supposed to do life anyways. So it's just not only as business owners and helping you to be successful when you figure out that that's that magic key that you need. It's helping you to be a better person. It's helping you to figure out how to do life the right way. You need people. So when you have the
Yeah.
right people in your business to get you where you need to be, that's where that success really comes to play.
How do you structure out your day? As someone who also has ADHD, I'm curious because bringing structure to a day for someone with ADHD is often one of the hardest parts. So how do you get that sort of daily routine if you have one? How do you structure it? How do you follow that timetable?
I am very type A. I am type A to the extreme, I shall say. I plan everything out. I have a calendar out as well as things that I write down. So I keep everything in time blocks, and then I have like an all calendar of things I need to do that day where I have a break, slide this in and do that. So I know when I've written my week out and the things that I need to accomplish when I do those things, I feel very great. So I'm not as spontaneous as I wish that I was. I'm working on that. When a friend calls and they're like, girl, let's go out to dinner. I'm like, baby, you should have scheduled that last week. Okay. Like, that's not on my calendar. Is it on yours? So I'm working on that because I know life happens sometimes. Things are not always going to go the way that you want them to. So that's something to work on gradually as we go. But as long as I'm, continuously writing those things down, making sure everything fits, it's like a puzzle. And when the puzzle gets solved, you just feel good, so empowered. That's how I function.
Well, are you like Haley? Are you more old school or have you embraced technology? Because you mentioned Shopify, so that's a bit more new school. How do you organize? Are you old school pen and paper or are you new school?
I'm pretty new school for the most part. I feel like I'm a good mixture though, and it really depends on what I'm doing because everything, of course, has a place and a time and all those things. Some things are in, on paper and pen, and some things are in the app. It just depends on what it is. But yeah, for the most part, technology wise, I'm new school. I kind of understand how to do things. Now, I'm still old school in a manner of like music that I listen to, my bedtime, those sort of things. You would be like, Kennedy, are you 60? Like, what? But that's just character. It builds for the plot.
What time are you going to bed? Let me guess. What, 10 o'clock?
Not
No?
normally. Now, life's been really busy, so we're figuring things out as they go. But I'm an early bird through and through. I'm okay with getting up at 4:35 a.m. and getting my day started. I normally get my matcha, my red light therapy, and my compression boots, and I'm doing my little devotional. And my mom's like, "Why are you up?" That's just who I am. But you got to go to bed at a good hour, right? So, at one point in my life, I was going to bed at 8:30. I have a grandma. I'm so sorry. The wrong family makes fun of me because they function at all hours. They do not sleep, I don't think. So, like, Chris doesn't go to sleep till like 3 a.m. And he's like, have I kept you up? He'll call me at 9:30 and be like, have I kept you up? I'm so sorry. It's past your bedtime. And I'm like, oops, it is. Gotta go, So, it's okay. It's balance, right? It's just balance, figuring things out as they go.
Haley said she needs people around her who keep her young. Otherwise, she'd be the oldest person in the room. I think you might be giving her a run for a run for her money going to bed at 8:30. But back up a sec. You mentioned red light therapy, compression boots, and matcha. Now, I understand the matcha, but this red light and compression boots thing, this sounds like an ADHD brain who's gone into like neurohacking a bit too much and has gone, oh, this, because I did the same thing with like ice baths, and I got myself an ice bath, a plunge pool. I was doing that every morning to wake up. And by the way, that really will wake you up. But run us through these hacks of yours, because these are some new age things that you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm really big into health and wellness, like the red light therapy and how it's so good for detoxing your body, and the compression boots too helps with blood circulation, also helps with the lymphatic system. I have a gene mutation like MFTHR or something like that, that really limits your ability to detox. So like there's certain
Right.
things that my body just does differently. So I have found too that doing those compression boots in the morning time, it really helps with swelling. I feel like a lot of the other crazy symptoms that I've had, it works with too. I feel like I'm constantly dealing with GI problems, and the red light therapy helps it, solved it. I'm not even kidding. It's wonderful. So I'm so thankful. I get up every morning. I do that 30 minutes. I feel like it's my quiet time too. I write down the things I'm grateful for, read that Bible, get that in. So it's just my time to like slow down, decompress. It gets me a good start. And then I've got my matcha with my caffeine. I'm good to go after that. My whole mentality has shifted for the day. I'm ready to rock and roll. So that's how I start my mornings.
If I was to stumble into your room when you were sleeping, as creepy as that sounds, would it look like some sort of science experiment going on? I just have this picture of like glasses on with a tanning bed with red lights, and I don't like smoke coming up and steam. I was like, what is this something that when I look at like that's a science experiment? It's like, no, that's just Kennedy sleeping.
Let's just Kennedy sleep. No, I keep all of it in a cabinet. You wouldn't get scared. I get it out every morning. Okay. Now, that 30 minutes, you might be like, what's wrong with this girl? Because I have a heated blanket too. I have to plug out of every morning. I'm religious about sleeping with a heated blanket at night. So by the time we get to that point with the caffeine and the books out and all the cords running everywhere, you'd be like, I'm worried for her. I'm slightly concerned, but it really does help. I promise.
Heated blanket or weighted blanket?
Heated blanket.
Right. Okay. How many other things do you have going on? Because I think it was I interviewed Sophie Sargent, who's a Miss New Hampshire volunteer, and she's crazy into all this biohacking stuff. How many other like hacks do you swear by? Like you don't need to declare all of them because some of them might be, I don't know, trade secrets. But how many of these hacks do you have in your life?
Um, Honestly, not a ton. Not really. I mean, that's one for sure. I do have that every single morning. Um, Gotta have the caffeine, electrolytes, the healthy balance, and green beans. I gotta have a bag of green beans every day. I roast them in the air fryer, and that's religious for me. I'm not gonna go by a single day without having them. They're wonderful.
Do you have troubles when you travel? Like, are you able to take all this stuff with you?
Yes, we drive a lot, and I always go with an air fryer. I literally went to Virginia Volunteer with an air fryer, a couple cans of olive oil spray, and a cold cooler full of green beans. I am crazy, I know, but it's fine.
All right. So God forbid you have to fly somewhere. How are you going to do this?
I just work through it. I honestly, there might be a mental breakdown or two. I can't promise not to, honestly, because it's just literally something I've been doing for like a year and a half now. So when I'm home, I have them every day, every single day.
Okay, so first thing I need to say, Berkeley, the title holder from last year, she swears by the microwave. She does all her cooking in the microwave. So the air fryer thing seems on brand. It seems like you've got your own things that you swear by. But can you run me through what you cook in your air fryer? Because I'm always because air fryers are more like a recent invention. Then I hear people talking about making cakes and stuff in air fryers. So what are the different things that you cook in the air fryer?
I'm kind of picky. So it's pretty consistent for me. Sweet potatoes. You can do anything though. You can do cakes, cookies, um, any type of protein you can cook in there, especially if you want it beef jerky. I know that's something Haley loves. She loves to like basically beef jerky her any type of protein that she puts in the air fryer. She just nukes it till it's to the point you barely can chew it. And she loves it, which is so funny and epic at the same time. I love that. But yeah, anything that you want to do, an air fryer is golden. It literally is the best invention known to man. I'm so thankful for her.
You're picky.
I kind of am. Yeah, I really am. I don't mean to be. A lot of it's stimulated from like sensitivities that I have, things that I stay away from. Like I
Yeah,
don't do
sure.
gluten, I don't do dairy, that sort of thing. But yeah, the green beans, a sweet potato, chicken, beef, and I pretty much just like in kiwi, I just circulate those things like consistent. Like I think I've had that probably the last 2 weeks of my life. That's the only thing I've eaten. That and
I mean,
true
it look
fruit. I love a chocolate covered strawberry. I'm not supposed to have dairy, but when I do cheat, that's where I go.
a what? A true fruit?
Yeah, have you never heard of that?
No.
It's so good. They have chocolate covered strawberries and you can get them in the freezer section. Target normally has them, but you can find them at Kroger too.
Chocolate covered strawberries. I feel like I'm learning so much, but I assume those don't go in the air fryer, do they?
No, I'm sorry. That might be the ADHD that just decided to
No.
share some valuable information with you.
No, I love the sound of this. I need some more recipes for my air fryer because I think once you get onto air fryers, you cook everything in the air fryer because it's just so much easier. You set, forget, you come back, it's done. So I love them. Kennedy, just before we move to the final 10 questions, is there anyone that you want to say, give a thanks to or say a shout out to for supporting you along your journey?
Oh, yes, my mom. I love her so much. I know she'll go back and watch all this. So shout out to you, Mama Kelly. You the MVP. Yes. And the Ruck family. Thank you guys for all that you do. I love you. I'm thankful for you. And I'm excited to spend this year with you. It's going to be great.
Perfect. All right, let's go through these final 10. Number 1, what
Okay.
is your favorite word?
My favorite word. Ooh, I feel like I'm more of a sound girl. When I get really excited, I go doo 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 doo, you know? So I feel like that really that's more, maybe that's not a word. It's just a thing that I do and I get really excited.
I'm going to ask you what your favorite sound is. So do you have a word that you like?
Let's see. I
We can go
really
with do do
love
do 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 as you'll find. I don't know how the transcription software is going to deal with that.
Let's see. I feel like I probably say Diet Coke a lot. Maybe that's a phrase, what 2 words in one, you know? I get a Diet Coke too every day, so I feel like that's something my mom and I share in common. Go Diet Coke.
All right, not sponsored. Hashtag not sponsored. Number 2, what is your least favorite word?
My least favorite word. I really don't like when people are like, boo. You know? I'm just like, that's negative. Get that out of here. No boo.
In life, what gets you excited? What turns you on?
I love when people just have so much joy and they're smiling. That just naturally attracts me to them. And I'm like, I don't know what you got, but let's talk about it. What are you excited for today? You know? So I love when people just have that smile and they're radiating joy. It really just does a number for any and everybody.
What turns you off?
When somebody cuts me off and doesn't use their blinker, I cannot stand that. I'm like, I can be friends with any and everybody, but if you refuse to use your blinker, you can't make it on the list. I'm sorry.
Do you have road rage?
How fitting. No, I'm really sweet. I promise. I'm a very sweet and respectful driver. I just know I can't be friends with you if you don't use your blinker. So if you want to be besties, no right and left blinker.
Okay. I've seen some very sweet people completely lose it when it comes to getting cut off in traffic. I'm one of those people. I'm normally very nice, but if you cut me off in traffic and you don't use your indicator, we're going to have words, that's for sure. Number 5, what sound or noise do you love? You said do 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 do.
Yeah, and I'll be like, doo doo doo. Yeah.
Okay. Well, what sound or noise do you hate?
Oh, I don't like when people like rev their engines. I feel like a lot of young boys do that now. And I'm just like, oh, so maybe I do have a little road rage. Shut up. That's fine.
You are sounding slightly like an old person. It's like, I hate it when those young kids rev their engines, those hooligans, those no-gooders. Moving on to the next question. If you could have any one superpower, what would you pick and why?
Oh, I want to fly so bad. I just want to go travel. And I don't even have a passport. I haven't even been on the country yet. That's going to change soon, I promise. So if I could just fly and go everywhere in one time and just take off, like how cool would that be? Awesome.
Just go in Haley's suitcase. She's always somewhere different. She's traveling all the time. Just,
I know.
hop along in a
Just take
suitcase.
me with you. Take me with you.
Number 8, what job other than your own would you most like to attempt?
would love to be like a nurse anesthetist or an anesthesiologist. That's really the track I thought I was going to take at the beginning anyways, but God said, skirt, other direction. So yeah, my mom's in the medical field too, so to be able to kind of follow in her footsteps, that might be cool.
What job would you definitely not like to attempt?
A veterinarian. No, thank you. I love animals, don't get me wrong, but my sisters go in that route and I've heard the stories and I've seen the pictures. I'm good.
Are you terrified of cats?
No, I love cats. I know Haley is. She told me about her Mr. Fluffy story, and I'm like, God love you. But I love cats. They're awesome.
Okay, hang on. So I just every now and then will send Haley a photo of a cat, and then she keeps saying that we can't be friends anymore. I think it's hilarious. Are you able to share why she hates cats? Because I never got that from her.
I know. Wait, that last part, what did you say? It kind of cut out a little bit.
Are you able to share why she hates cats so much? If it's a personal story, I'm going to ask, but why does she hate cats so much?
You know, honestly, I don't know. I don't think it stimulates from anything specific. I just think she's never liked them, which is crazy.
That's funny, because the thing a cat would do is if you are terrified of cats, it's going to follow you everywhere. That's just the way cats are. Anyway, final question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Welcome home. If those are the words that come out of his mouth, yes, rejoice, let the angels sing, let's celebrate and eat a cheeseburger. That would be awesome.
You'd have to be able to cook it in an air fryer. You sounded like you were about to have that your winning expression face again with the mouth open, the flared nostrils, and the fly about to go in. You've never swallowed a fly, have you? That's not from personal experience.
I have. I live on a baby farm, a little bitty one. So dealing with outdoors animals, that happens sometimes.
Perfect. Well, Kennedy, it's been an absolute blast. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This was a dream come true, so I really do appreciate it.
Perfect. I'll keep you on the line for just a sec whilst I hang out with the audience, but thanks to everyone for watching, and we will speak to you next time. Bye for now.